It's Deep Focus. I'm your host, Mitch Goldman. This one, part 3 of 3 parts from June 10th, 2024. Vernon Reid, my guest in the studio. And our topic is Gil Scott-Heron. Could not be a better fit. And wow, is this a banger of a show that we're listening to? Okay, here we go. If you didn't hear parts 1 and 2, I suggest you go back and check them out first. But if you don't, well, you're going to want to after you hear this. Here's part 3. Come along. All right, we're going to go back to the bottom line. August 1977, and Gil Scott-Heron and the Midnight Band, and first minute of a new day. I love that description that he gave of the name of the band. It never occurred to me. And that's even the name of an album. Midnight Band, it's about a new day beginning. Mm-hmm. Never thought of that before. And special attention here to Brian Jackson as I cue up our next track. This is another important historic song. Should we say anything about it, or just let Gil roll with Almost Lost Detroit?
Yep.
What's that? For their mothers as they ride. But no one stopped to think about the babies or how they would survive. Then we almost lost Detroit this time. Tell me, how'd you ever get over losing our minds? Yeah, I'm just 30 miles from Detroit. Stands this giant power station. It ticks each night as the city sleeps. Just seconds from annihilation. But no one stopped to think about the people or how they would survive. And we were almost lost Detroit this time. How would we ever get over losing our mind? The sheriff of Monroe County had sure enough disaster on his mind. Yes, and what would Karen Silkwood say to you? That is, if she was still alive. Yes, that when it comes to people's safety, money wins out every time. And we've almost lost Detroit this time. time. Tell me, how would we ever get over? Trying to get over our minds. See, we almost lost Detroit that time. Yeah, almost lost Detroit that time, and how would we ever get over one time? 'Cause odds are I'm gonna lose somewhere, sometime. The odds say you got to lose somewhere, sometime, and then how do you ever get over losing your mind? Tell me, how do you really get over losing your mind? Say, I didn't dig the sign, didn't see, didn't know that time. And people all over the world wanna know. Say, didn't you know? Yes, people all over the world wanna know. Say, didn't you know? Lord said, you almost lost Detroit. Didn't tell you nothing. Didn't tell you nothing. Seemed like you almost lost Detroit. Now you got something. Somebody said, did you ever get over? Got to try to find out. Somebody said, how you get over? You're gonna wake up one morning, and I can see it clear as day. I'm standing here singing like a warning. Feel it, say. Detroit. Thank you very much. We almost lost Detroit, the name of that one. Almost lost my voice, the name of that one. I'd like to take you into another song that we hope will ring a bell, at least, you know, in terms of the idea. The song is called Deaf, Dumb, and Blind. And every once in a while, it is also called Wild Golia, which is that's what happens to Wild Golia when Dracula raps and says, "Welcome to Wild Golia." So deaf, dumb, and blind relates to an idea in a totally abstract sort of surrounding. You'll probably recognize it immediately. And the idea relates to how you can talk to people nowadays. You say, how you doing, brother? No response whatsoever. You say, well, where's my hello, me? Is it? Check, test, 1. Trying to find out if you're working. Because the man ain't give 0 response. And then you be waving up and down, what's happening, what's happening? People just blanking on you, like they're in some sort of a trance. And then there's communication problems. All this relates to communication. And we need to be exchanging more ideas, getting together more, talking more, doing more things together. And folks is acting like sometimes they cannot speak to one another. We've got an idea that relates to the primary responsible, the primary person responsible for sometimes desensitizing us and taking those 3 senses away from us. The song is about Wild Golia, deaf, dumb, and blind. Hope you never catch it. About this time, the announcer would come in and say, "Welcome to Wild Golia. I know if you've been looking now you can see. Yes, and it's closer than you'll know the reality. I know if you've been looking now that you can see. Yeah. But if you don't look, this song won't mean a thing. Yeah. But now don't you despair. There ain't no rule that said you got to care. You can always swear you're deaf, dumb, and blind. Works one time, But then folks get suspicious, you see. I know if you've been listening now, you can hear. Yes, the sound of the people, the footsteps running in fear. I know if you've been listening, you done heard it, yeah. The people be calling out for soothing a word. You got it, you can give them the word now, but don't you despair. There ain't no rule that says you gotta care. You can't always swear you're deaf, dumb, and blind. Yes, in this portion of the vocal, I'd like to introduce you to that person we feel responsible for our not communicating much anymore. But right now, bang. Up. Get with the piano. Behind closed doors, I'm offering one chance for you to boogie down. Yes, and the smack I got with me is best in town. Offering you a chance to dance and swing. Need you up here with me when I do my thing. Yes, and all I want from you is your mind and come on and cooperate with me until you get too old. To retaliate against the fact that it took your mind, oh yeah, and left you and your people far behind. Life ain't nothing but a sham. Can you tell me who I am? Dressed in red, white, and blue, your Uncle Sam. Goddamn. Almost didn't recognize me, did you? I know if you've been talking now, you done said somebody, yes, and just how surprised you were by the living dead. And you were surprised that they could understand your words. Yes, and never respond once to all the truth there. Now, but don't you get square. There ain't no rule that says they've got to care. They can always swear that they're dumb and blind. Life ain't nothing but a sham. Can you tell me who I am? Dressed in red, white, and blue, your Uncle Sam. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Deaf, dumb, and blind. Remember that particular tune. I'd like to take you into a song from the album First Minute of a New Day. It has to do with the temperature and the humidity. Because sometimes those two elements in themselves will fool you and make you think it is some other season than the one we are about to describe. It is called Winter in America. Could y'all help me say? From the Indians who welcomed the Pilgrims, yes, and to the buffaloes who once ruled the plain. Like the vultures circling beneath the dark clouds, looking for the rain. Really looking for the rain. Just like city that staggers on the coastline. We're living in a nation that just can't take much more. Like the forest, they buried beneath the highway. I never had a chance to grow. They really never had a chance to grow. And now it's winter. It seems like a winter in America. Yes, a time when all of the healers, people who could help us, done been killed. They've been betrayed. Yeah, but the people know it's something everybody ought to know about a winter. Seem like a winter. And there ain't nobody fighting because, well, nobody knows what to say. Brother, save your soul. The Lord knows it's a winter in America. The Constitution was no more piece of paper, and with the free society, the struggle but died in vain. And now democracy is a ragtime on the corner, hoping that it'll rain. Until like he's hoping that it'll rain. And I see the robins perched in barren treetops. They're watching last-ditch races marching across the floor. And just like the peace sign that vanished in our dreams and never had a chance to grow, they really never had a chance to grow. And if the people want to know, tell them it's winter. And nothing grows in a winter in America. Yeah, a time when all of the healer people who could help us, they've been killed. They've been betrayed. Yeah, people know it's something everybody ought to know about a winter. It seemed like a winter. And there ain't nobody fighting because, well, nobody knows what to say. It seemed like a winter in America. it's a winter. And it seems like a winter. Yeah, a time when all of the healers, brothers who could help us, they've been killed. They put them in jail. Yeah, people know it's something wrong. Don't you know it's something wrong? It's winter. It seems like a winter in America. There ain't nobody fighting because, well, nobody knows what to say. There ain't nobody fighting because, well, nobody knows what to do or what to do. And there ain't nobody fighting because nobody knows what to say. Winter in America. If you are sitting in here sweet talking somebody, and there's somebody you should be sweet talking should drop by, you will be under the hammer. Totally. This song says good advice is sure enough hard to come by. Bad advice seems easy because it's free. Under the hammer. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Good advice is sure enough hard to come by. Bad advice surrounds you constantly. Good advice you just can't put no price on. Bad advice seems easy cause it's free. And through it all somehow we're different. Think there's nothing to it, so we plunge painfully through it. And no matter how hard it rains, if you don't profit from the change, back under the hammer totally. Under the hammer from the day you was born, and you under the hammer and out there on your own. Good advice don't make it if there's no one there to take it. You're just under the hammer totally. To tell you something about your drinking, yeah, but you don't want to hear a word I say. No, and you don't care what I've been thinking, because you control things your own way. And since you got things under control, there ain't nothing to it, ain't no reason you should do it. And no matter how hard it rains, if you don't keep it on the chain, back under the hammer totally. Talking about you under the hammer from the day you was born, and you under the hammer and out there on your own. Good advice don't make it if there's no one there to take it. You're just under the hammer totally. Stick man. There you go. Make me feel like I've been it. Hard to come by. Them bad advice surround you constantly. Good advice you just can't put no price on. Them bad advice seem easy cause it's free. But and all somehow we're different. Think there's nothing to it, so we flood faithfully through it. And no matter how hard it rains, if you don't stop it from the chain, you back under the hammer totally. Under the hammer from the day you was born, and you're under the hammer and out there on your own. Good advice don't make it if there's no one there to take it. You just under the hammer totally. Under the hammer from the day you was born, and it ain't no surprise to you now that you're full grown. You've been under the hammer from the day you was born, and it ain't no surprise to you now that you're full grown. See, good advice don't make it if there's no one there to take it. You're just under the hammer totally. Makes me feel under hammer, 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 under the hammer. Thank you very much.
Under the Hammer. That's Gil Scott-Heron. That's not, you've got people all over the listening range saying, wait a minute, what album is that? That's not an album. That's not a record. That is from the WKCR archives. The show's called Deep Focus. I'm your host, Mitch Goldman. Every episode, I invite a guest, and the guest chooses a topic. And the challenge to me is to go into the WKCR archives, the vast holdings.
Incredible.
Have you been in there? You know, it's right across the hall here. I got to show you. You're not going to believe it. And I find live, unreleased recordings of whatever the guest chooses. Vernon Reid here with me tonight, and you pointed us in the way of Gil Scott-Heron. Brilliant, brilliant choice. All these years I've been doing this show, nobody ever chose Gil Scott-Heron, and so it's one of those things. You know what my definition is of the word genius, Vernon?
I have no idea.
My definition of the word genius is something that, in hindsight, seems totally obvious, and yet all these brilliant people, and you know them as well as I do.
Here we go.
We've had some big brains in here. Nobody ever picked. Not big hearts, too.
Gil Scott-Heron, I mean, he's an artist that's really worthy of, especially in these times we're in, he's an artist worthy of, to reflect on, you know, on a lot of different levels. A lot of different levels. I mean, he was one of just this whole range of kind of boomer visionaries who just were, you know what I mean, all these artists who were really born in the 40s, you know, and he was born at the end of the 40s. And all these artists who, you know, had to face the shadow of the bomb, you know, and then all of us that were born in the 20th century, you know, that whole thing, you know, the bomb and the conflict between economic systems, the end, you know, the struggles over colonialism and various economies, and, you know, what the first world is, what the third world is. Now, all of that is a bunch of gobbledygook, but it's a fact that there were conflicts that really defined, and there were events in that time period, particularly, you know, well, the whole century is a thing, but, you know, in the talking about towards the 2/3 in, you know, from the First World War onwards, you know, mechanized combat and, you know, the development of truly of weapons of mass destruction and the, you know, the means and the aims and the growth of media, the growth of corporations, you know, the growth of influence, cultural influence, and all of these things. These are all forces that shaped a generation of artists. You know, those struggles, the idea of civil rights, You know, the idea of artists actually speaking out, you know, and honestly, the first avatar in a way of that was Billie Holiday with the song Strange Fruit. I mean, it was unprecedented for an artist of that kind of international renown and popularity to do the song Strange Fruit. And it was controversial then, and she made people very angry.
This is a song about lynching.
Yeah, there's a song about lynching, and a song that revealed a very hard and dark American truth. And, you know, the person that was in charge of drug policy, Harry Anslinger, who was, you know, noted, William Burroughs shouted him out. When people were focused on J. Edgar Hoover as the great villain of authoritarian, you know, law enforcement, but Harry Anslinger was, I mean, he targeted jazz. He specifically targeted Billie Holiday.
Yeah.
For destruction. But her sacrifice, you know, her having the temerity to do that, to do something so outspoken and forward-facing in the canon of the so-called American songbook, you know, this led to artists like Gil Scott-Heron coming out. You know, it influenced artists like a Bob Dylan and you know, to come out. And, you know, of course, there was a Woody Guthrie, you know, who was speaking truth to power about Fred Trump. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, you know, Gil was part of a you know, going back to Paul Robeson, blah, blah, blah. So Gil was part of a tradition. But he also was an expander of that tradition. And, you know, and he expanded that, and, you know, from everyone from Common to Chuck D to, you know, Kendrick Lamar, they owe something, you know, to, you know, Gil Scott-Heron, as well as to Abiodun and Umar Ben Hassan and, you know, the Last Poets and so on. So Jalaluddin and all the, you know, the Last Poets and so on and so forth, you know. He was part of a hip tradition too, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Very, you know, very hip. And so he's a linchpin into the 21st century because of his identifying of media as a part of the situation in a way that you know, the really County Cullen wouldn't have done, because, you know, the media, Langston Hughes wouldn't have done it because the medium of television really wasn't a commonplace thing. It wasn't. So he was able to leverage that technology, if you will, into the conversation about rights and struggle. So, but on top of which, you know, he was a great performer. He was a great singer. He was a great, you know, whatever his message was, he actually had the music to make that a reality and to actually reach people, as well as, you know, the fact, you know, we've spoken about his own struggles, and you know, I'm talking about the human condition. You know, he was a vulnerable person, you know, and probably a very anxious person, and, you know, and all the rest of it, but. You know, he made, I mean, that band, you know, his collaboration with Brian Jackson was incredibly fruitful. He, you know, was able to make a music that would stood up to any of the bands at that time. You know, he could have went on stage with War or P-Funk or any, you know, he could have went on stage. He could have went on stage with, you know, went toe to toe with the Headhunters. You know, Midnight Band was second to none. I mean, that's the thing, you know, about it.
We proved that tonight.
Yeah, the Midnight Band was second to none.
And he did. I think they did. He did do shows with a lot of groups like that. Had a great.
Yeah, he was a popular. I mean, that's the thing. You know, I mean, there was a time, and particularly after, you know, from the '60s, there was a time when the whole meaning. I mean, from the Beatles transformations, you say you want a revolution, to, what Jimi Hendrix was doing with Star Spangled Banner, and Machine Gun. I mean, Edwin Starr, War. I mean, the fact that the Temptations did Ball of Confusion. The idea of social relevance and conflict worked its way. I mentioned, what's going on, and Donny Hathaway, someday we'll all be free. This was also part of the currency of pop at that time. And as much as Gil Scott-Heron was an activist, he was also he was part of the artists that really shaped the times to accept this kind of conversation, about struggle and the right to be a fully human being. So he did a great service in terms of expanding the zeitgeist, in terms of expanding the aesthetic, and he spread that out, and many young artists, on the come up. I'm particularly taken with Willow Smith, the daughter of Will and Jada, Smith. I mean, she's doing remarkable work. I think about Esperanza Spalding, not just from her jazz recordings, but the things she's doing with her electric music. There's a whole conversation that Gil Scott-Heron is a part of. Is a part of the DNA of artists coming out and saying things that need to be said from their perspective. He really was an artist who incredibly influential, and I think it's great to look back and listen to the music that he did with the Midnight Band and Brian Jackson. It was powerful music, and it reached people beyond even a certain targeted audience. It transcended that, and so it's great to be reminded of one extraordinary artist, one extraordinary creative person. Gil Scott-Heron was and is. I was thinking about he put out a book called The Last Holiday. Fantastic. I mean, it's because he wrote the truth about, he had a song called Me and the Devil, which was like back, which was close to the end. And it's just harrowing and powerful. And he's, unsparing of himself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that book, The Last Holiday, it's really another in a sequence of books we've had in the last batch of years that striking how forthright he is and how close to the present moment a lot of these stories are that tell you where he came from and where his work came from. Really, and let me just underline it one more time. There's a lot of marvelous media available that he created, and all of it is worth paying attention to. Gil Scott-Heron, his recordings, his writings.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I remember, the first preview for the Marvel film Black Panther, one of the earliest previews had the revolution will not be televised.
Right.
Was the music for the earliest preview. And I was mad as hell that the revolution, I went and saw that movie, I kept waiting for the revolution will not be televised.
That song gets, I still love it. I could still listen to it, but it really gets abused, and people just misapprehend what I think he was saying, and it just gets this. It's like this shorthand for so many things that it's a whole other topic.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah, exactly. My guest is Vernon Reid, Living Color, playing the Hard Rock Cafe here in New York City, June 19th.
Yep.
You are well known and recognized for socially conscious music, and you, Living Color and Gil Scott-Heron, both represented in the Museum of African American Culture at Smithsonian.
Yep.
And how was his music an influence on your writing in particular?
Well, Gil Scott-Heron, I mean, talking about the revolution will not be televised, that confluence of activism and technology was one thing. I could draw a line from that to, information overload from, Time's Up. And the bottle, I mean, just the idea that he was so willing to be just honest, because it was at that point he's not talking about the man per se. He's talking about what's happened with the self-medication and that kind of honesty. I think about that song and I think about Family Affair from Find the Family Stone. I mean, these are tunes that were really kind of turning points for me about what can be sung about, what can be written about. And really anything and everything can be written about. And really that was the thing about from very disparate musicians, like hearing Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. I tried to wrap my head around the fact that the same band that I Want to Hold Your Hand, suddenly had made this tremendous change. And the idea of change and the idea of the forms shifting, that was that this was possible to not necessarily have to follow in the mode that everybody else was in. And that was part of the power of these artists who kind of went out on a limb and said things that other artists were just not talking about. So that's, and again, Winter in America. I think it was just powerful emotion. I mean, in fact, part of the thing is that the emotions that animate Gil Scott's music actually have more sway than the messages or the activism, the actual emotions. Mm-hmm. Because the emotions, loss or, the feeling of resistance or survival, that could be, like there's an old girl group song, You Don't Own Me, and that doesn't seem like it's a political, but You Don't Own Me. And that's, people wouldn't think about that song as a political statement, but it is.
Sure.
Do you know the way to San Jose, LA is a great big freeway. Put 100 down and buy a car. In a week, maybe two, they'll make you a start. But weeks turn into years, how quick they pass. And all the stars that never were are parking cars and pumping gas. Now, if that's not a critique of late-stage capitalism, I don't know what is. Mm-hmm. Anything can be sung about and put in any order. And that's part of the thing that the great artists and writers, that's what they do. And Gil Scott was certainly one of America's greatest.
I couldn't agree more. I'm so glad you called this one out tonight. And one more time, I'm going to just let folks know if you want to hear those ideas brought to life nice and loud.
Bring earplugs.
Bring earplugs.
Ear protection.
To the Hard Rock Cafe, another historic location, by the way. Speaking of, I'm sure you know all about that. And June 19th, special, one more try. One tells one secret special guest. Just one, come on.
Oh, I can't do it. I can't do it because I don't want to put them on blast.
All right.
But there will be this one part. It'll be a hoot and a holler. If this one particular guest shows up, there's a hoot and a holler that's going to be had. I'll tell you that.
June 19th, here in New York City, 2024. Vernon Reid, thank you.
You know what? Thank you for having me, Mitch, and you're welcome.
On that note, okay, so there's 2 tracks left of this show. See what we can squeeze in here. I'll play them at 45 so that we can get them both in. No, here's what I'm going to do. The last song they do is Johannesburg, and then there's a big jam, and there's a big jam on the bottle actually precedes it. I'm going to switch those two so we can hear as much as we can of both of these songs. So that's what we're going to do. that's what we're going to do. And so we're going to start with Johannesburg. If you don't know, this was a huge song, a huge pop song that also changed a lot of people's understanding about a big topic that just got bigger. And coming at you right now. All right, music from Gil Scott-Heron. The show's called Deep Focused. I'm your host, Mitch Goldman. And thanks for being along.
Show me the monitors. Hey. I said, what's the word? Tell me, brother, have you heard from Johannesburg? Yeah, tell me what's the word now. Sister woman, have you heard from Johannesburg? Tell me that our brothers over there are defined a man. We don't know for sure because the news we get is up in line, oh man. And yes, I hate it when the blood starts flowing, but I'm glad to see your resistance go ahead. Somebody tell me what's the word. Tell me, brother, have you heard from Johannesburg? Tell me what's the word now. Sister woman, have you heard about Johannesburg? They tell me that our brothers over there refuse to work in the mine. They may not get the news, but they need to know we're on their side. And yes, now, sometimes distance brings misunderstanding. Deep in my heart, I'm demanding. Somebody tell me what's the word. Tell me, brother, have you heard from Johannesburg? Yeah, tell me what's the word now. Sister woman, have you heard about Johannesburg? Help me get over this hill, man, see. Cause I know that they're struggling over there. That ain't gonna break me. Yeah, but we've all got to be struggling. And if we want to be free, and don't you want to be free, 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 free? Feeling better every day, 'cause I'm So what's the word? So what's the word? Say it a little bit louder. So haven't you heard? What's the word? Somebody tell me what's happening in Johannesburg. LA like Johannesburg. New York like Johannesburg. Peter made some of the word in that said what's the word? So what's the word? So haven't you heard? Somebody's gotta tell me what's happening in Johannesburg. C-O-I-D, to prove you instead of me. Johannesburg, ain't nothing but 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 a word. I feel like in Johannesburg, talking about Johannesburg, yeah, yeah. Thank you, New York. Thank you.
Power to the people.
About this time every night, snake gets loose in here. Snake is referred to as Wawanwanko, the rhythm of rebirth and regeneration. The snake was named this because it had the power to shed its skin every year and appear to be reborn or renewed, you see. And we'd like to bring you Wawanwanko, the rhythm of rebirth and regeneration, and a song called The Bottle. Dr. Wawanwanko. Come on, brother, man, say it. Yeah, we're gonna get something rolling in here in a minute. Come on, brother Bane, help me on the drums here. Boiling, do you dig? So I want everybody to help me say whole damn thing, all right? Ready? All right. 1, 2. Whole damn thing, say it. You see that black boy over there running scared? His old man in a bottle. Well, he done quit his 9 to 5. He drink full time. Now he's hanging in a bottle. Over there, he's running scared. His old man got a problem. He like to drink too much. He done pawned off damn near everything. His old woman wet make a bottle. See, and don't you think it's a crime? Yeah, no way. Time after time after time, people in a bottle, nine. If people showed up in a bottle. Said, gee, that sister sure was fine before she started drinking wine from the bottle. She told me, old man committed a crime, he's doing time. Now she's hanging in a bottle. Out there on the avenue all by herself, sure need help from the bottle. Well, I seen a preacher man trying to help her out. She cussed him out, hit him in the head with the bottle. Well, he turned to me and he asked me, yeah, now don't you think it's a crime? Yeah, no way. Time after time after time, people in the bottle. And people showed up in the bottle. You see that gent in a rig-all suit down, he done damn near blown his cool to the bottle. Doctor, helping young girls along. If they wasn't too far, gonna have problems. I mean, the complications, but vendors of the dollar eagle said, what you doing, man, ain't legal. And now he's in a bottle. Seems like now we watch him every day, be trying to chase business away from the bottle. Well, he turned to me and he said, give me a hand out, and don't you think it's a crime? Yeah, no way. Time after time, there's mine in the bottle, ain't lying. The people showed up in the bottle. rhythm make you move. It'll rhythm make you move. It'll rhythm make you move. That's it. Don't be afraid. 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 move. Hit the rhythm, make you 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 move. Knocks it, don't be afraid. 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 Don't be afraid to move. 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 Hit the rhythm, make you move. It's alright. Hit the rhythm, make you move. Hit the rhythm, make you move. It's alright. Hit the rhythm, make you move. Hit the rhythm, make you move. It's alright. Hit the rhythm, make you move. Hit the rhythm, make you move. It's alright. Hit the rhythm, make you move. Mama go, mama go, mama go. Got me, won't let go. Say. Ain't no fancy feeling. It sure enough ain't no fancy feeling. If you feel good with the same old feeling, let me tell you something. If you ever come looking for me, you know where I'm bound to be in a bottle. Just turn around, look around on any corner, and if you see some brother looking like a goner, it's gonna be me. Just sing song. Na 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 na. Why na 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 na? When I now, when I na 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 now. Why na 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 now? When I now, when I na 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 now, when I na 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 now, now when I na na now, when I now, when I now, when I now, when I na now. I'll now get a bottle of wine. I'll now get a bottle of wine. I'll now get a bottle of wine. All that means you're gonna get to something. Seem like talking about something. Seems like I need me something. What I could need is horns, you see. Horns is what I need. Singing. Oh, damn thing, something. Everybody needs something. Everybody needs something. Everybody needs something. Said you want to admit that you need something. Said I'm the first to admit that I need something. Said you ought to admit that you need something. Said I'm the first to admit that I need something. Seems like everybody needs something. Everybody needs something. Everybody needs something. Everybody needs something. Something. Yeah, yeah. Thank y'all. The Midnight Band. Thank you. We appreciate it.